We just don't have, I have an office at home, but you have to go through my office to get to both of my kids' bedrooms. It wouldn't have worked. I don't know what I mean, it would have been terrible. So I feel you.
I'm in my bed. I don't have a desk. I'm in my bed.
Yeah.
Hey, be comfortable, right?
Good. We're still getting a couple of things ironed out. Okay. Hold on. We're good. This is still going great. This is going great. Okay, let me go to
Rashay, I don't have the printed like what the order of the meeting. So if you can just let me know which is the next COA as we go.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem. Not a problem.
All right. So how many people are here? Who are we waiting for? What do we need to do?
I am trying to see that too. And okay, so we got Pat. Hold on.
Am I still there?
Yeah, you're still there. So you
Okay.
can come, you need to come on in to video, Pat. Are you on? Wait, can I see you?
I touched something and it changed. Okay, I'm back, I think.
Yay, perfect. Okay, so for the HRB board members, this is the thing. Legally, we have to see and hear you. So for the virtual meeting regs that meet Robert's rules. So keep your camera on. If you're not speaking, I know I've said this like 5 times for those who have been here early, I'm sorry. If you're not speaking, put it on mute, because anything that you do, like moving your chair, or if you hit your elbow on your desk, or any sound you make with papers or anything rustling, it will automatically pan to you. So we're going to try to keep that under control by muting when we're not speaking. Okay. Now let's see. We've got Bruce, we got Summer, Dr. Blackman. Nope. Come on it, Josh.
I mean, he's there.
There he is. Yay.
There you go.
Yay, Dr. Blackman. Okay, great. So got it. Yeah, and where's my pad? Yep, got my pad. Perfect. Okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm getting a lot of text messages from other people trying to get in. Okay, excellent. So Beth, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let me pull out the agenda right here. So the first thing, of course,
You can see
is to get approval of the February 18th, 2020 minutes.
Okay. Are there any changes that need to be made to those minutes? Has everyone read them and made changes that they need? Right. Do I have a motion for approval of last month's minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I will second. Pat.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I think that was everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Good.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. So the next one is COA 20-22, Victor Hall.
20-22. Okay, this is to replace the old railing with new composite railing. Is this all on the side porch at the top?
Yes, at the top of the first balcony, yes.
And it says here in our regulations that missing porch components should match the original in material, size, shape, and style. So I'm curious about what this material is that you're proposing.
This is a composite material made by HB with main columns for the White House. It's a composite with aluminum rigid feel in between it and rigid post, and looks identical to wood when it's done. And you'll never tell the difference in it. Yeah. The other porch is in bad repair, and they want to get it replaced, and that's where I'm coming from. It's high quality, better than wood, never rot, stiffer, stronger, and it's the inner structure of it is aluminum, and it's very rigid. It's a real good quality product. It's not wood, but that's the reason we replace it, because it ain't wood, because it's in bad repair. It just rots everything. It's probably been the third time this has probably been. I'm estimating that it's been replaced over the years, I guess. This house was built in 1932, so it's got a lot of original components, but I don't think this railing was one of them. I think second round, But when I replace it, it will look exactly like the one that's on it, the component I got.
Is this a balcony accessible for people at this point? So is people going
Yes,
up
it is.
using
It's
it?
accessible for the upper. There's a doorway going out into this balcony area. It's a flat seam copper roof that they'll be standing on.
So Riche, do we have any leeway here? I mean, the regulations say it has to be of the original material. So I'm just curious, is this something we've done before? Is this feasible?
We have not done it before. No, we have never allowed thus far for this to happen. Now, with other issues with composite materials, safety, we get, how do I put this? We are allowed to circumvent certain safety codes because of it being a historic structure and being in the historic district. So we're aware of that. So that was a lot of the premise. A lot of the other things is we've kept it original based on those guidelines. This is a preference, of course, for the homeowners. They feel that this is going to be safer. They have small children, I know, and that was part of the issue brought up. We haven't done it before though. So that is one thing, unfortunately, I had researched, and I'm kind of pulling up the guidelines right now too.
This product will be twice as rigid and twice as stiff as wood. And plus it'll look exactly like wood. You will never be able to tell the difference in it. There's no little fasteners. They're all hidden. Everything's hidden. It's just like you built it and finished it in with wood and punched and nailed the holes and all that kind of stuff and painted it. You would never know the difference.
Riche, is there any? Oh, I'm
rigid.
sorry, sir. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, it's just like I say. It'll look just like wood. It's very rigid. Well, it's twice as rigid. It's got an inner core of aluminum column, solid core. The posts are aluminum square column bolted into the existing structure, and it's just don't have a wood post whatsoever to rot out, and twist out, and turn and twist. Plus, they're 12-foot rails, and you couldn't even take the 12-foot rails that are on there now, swag. And this is it's so rigid that you don't have to have a center balance on it either, or another newel post. And that's the reason I want to specify that for them, because it's just a lot better product, than wood.
I've got that. So the problem is, Mr. Hall, is that there's very specific guidelines from the federal government. And this is what I was talking to you about when the application came through. So because we have to go back with appropriate material, you see, so that type of material wasn't available in the 30s, right? So the only material we're supposed to be able to go back with is what was originally there, which would have been wood. Now, the core strength, if it's not visible necessarily, is there any way that outer coating, instead of what it is, could it be wood with the internal metal mechanism?
No, it couldn't, because it's just an interchangeable interlocking system, Nobody in the world would ever know the difference in it. I mean, federal guidelines are federal guidelines. It doesn't make sense to put wood back, and when you got the exact same look and feel of wood, and not ever knowing the difference in a lifetime of people to ever know it was wood. They would think it was wood because It's just that much better product, you know.
What is the
Almost
outside
never
material
have
that,
to be replaced again. She'll never have to be replacing it again. And it's just permanent, you know.
yeah, we understand. And so part of the issue too is that there's several other historic structures that have had porches rebuilt, and we've had to make them use wood. And we understand, we know that there's different products out there. Unfortunately, the federal government kind of is what it is, right? And if it's not as visible, or if there's different circumstances that could allow for this, but for the most part, 99.9% of the time, if it's a historic porch material, we have to go back with wood. So I was hoping that there was a way to coat that with something that was wood, with an internal metal reinforcement, but being a wood outside that could allow this to potentially go through. But
If it weren't, because the fact that it's an exterior railing versus a cornice system or a column or something like it would easily be made wood. But this structure here, it just would be a whole lot better product with this composite product. And it doesn't look cheap. It's just exactly like wood. I mean, but it's not wood, but I mean, it's just a better product, and you'll never know the difference of wood just because of that little stipulation they got. It's got to be wood. It's not fair and real, you know. I mean, when you're going to have the exact same look of product that's going to last that much longer than it's almost like a lifetime, you know.
yeah, and we understand. And unfortunately, we just can't bend on that. My question is, what is it coated in? Is it a boral type material that is a wood composite, or is it a metal material that's actually coating the outside as well?
It's not a PVC. It's in between a fiberglass, solid, rigid cover over a and with PV resins in it also, and they cover interlock into aluminum product for the structure part of it, and then all the other product, the structures that are screwed and nailed onto the framing of it, they're all aluminum composite there, but all the material that covers it up is a fiberglass PVC resin composite, you know, and it can't be painted. It's not, it can be painted just like wood.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. So let me explain. So for instance, if historic wood columns on a porch were to be replaced, we can't allow the PVC to go back, even though we know it lasts a lot longer. Unfortunately, if it is 50 years or older, we have to go back with wood. So even if there was a column that you had to replace and this was available, we couldn't allow that because of the regulations. Does that make sense? So it's kind of the same principle. The railing is the same principle as the column. We understand that there is definitely things out there that last longer. We understand that, but unfortunately, because of the regs, I was worried. Yeah, I was worried it was a PVC component. That's what I thought I understood when I looked at the application. So unfortunately, if there's no way it can be coated outside with wood, then I don't feel that it can go forward, unfortunately, because we have the same regs on every other aspect of the porch, and we can't make a special concession. We've made several calls, unfortunately, and we had to follow the guideline by the federal government to allow wood columns to then go back, right, as wood. And a lot of people have requested PVC or aluminum columns, and we can't give it to them. And we would love to give it to them, but we can't give it to them. So it's not a matter of it being a superior quality. It's not a matter of it being life lasting and not rotting anymore. We understand that, but I don't feel, unless it's outside that it's wood, that this can go forward. Now, my board may have a different opinion, but I'm trying to give you an understanding of why we have to do some of this the way we do.
So you're telling me there's no other stipulations you can't make I know you got guidelines to go through, but you still can't make any stipulation for something that's going to look just like it, just because that guideline says it's got to be wood. It don't seem like that's a fair deal, you know.
We understand, and that's part of the issue. I was hoping there was a wood. I knew what kind of. I read the material and looked over the application. I was hoping there was a way to coat it in wood, because then the metal wouldn't necessarily be visible, and it would be a structural thing that would also be a safety component, and maybe we could work with that. But if it's PVC, if it is what you described it as, I do not feel that can be approved. I was hoping it could be wood, that there's something on the outside, but if it's not, I do not.
It wasn't wood from that point. Yeah, I knew it wasn't wood for sure. You know.
I was still hoping it was an option. Hoping it was an option.
Are there any questions from any of the board members?
Not for me.
No.
Okay. Can we get a motion for COA 20-22?
Where are we?
And make a motion to recommend the denial of COA 22 based on the finding that the rail is not consistent with the porches, steps, and stairs standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second.
All in favor, one at a time. Bruce?
Aye.
Aye for me.
I
Pat?
have accused from this one.
Oh,
yeah,
you're recused. Okay.
Okay, oh crap, hold on.
Josh?
Aye.
Okay. Got it. It's done. Okay, Mr. Hall, they have the right, they can appeal to city council on this decision. They can contact Gary Little, who is the city clerk, and essentially appeal through that way if they would like to do so. But Kelsey can call me and we can talk about this too, okay? So she's
Okay.
allowed to contact me after this. And just, if you have any further questions, you let me know.
Okay, then. All right. All right.
Thank-
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
all right. What is our next? Oh, goodness.
COA -20-07.
Yeah, and Ms. Hurst, we had to table it. I went back through with the city attorney with Robert's rules on this one from the last month. We do have to give an actual approval, and then with the conditions as the colors that we approved last time, and that Beth would do the trial. That's all I'm asking for on this one, is an official approval with conditions.
I have not been over there yet.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, what number was this?
20, this is Sheila Hurst, the property on 3rd Street.
I'm in the wrong year. Everything crashed and
20-07.
okay.
So,
Thank
Rashay,
you.
just to understand you correctly, so we're just approving the colors it's painted currently. Okay.
No, it was the barn red and the desert one that was previous. We approved them at the last meeting,
Mhm.
but we tabled it and gave conditions, but because she wasn't present, but some people aren't gonna be able to get into this meeting, so I'm just trying to conduct business as usual. So, but I double checked with Robert's rules on that and the city attorney. We can't go forward unless there's an approval. So we have to approve it tonight with the conditions set forth last time.
Do we know what the conditions were last time?
I'm getting,
Okay.
I am getting that out right now.
So she's not reapplying for new colors.
She did, yeah. She sent in a bunch of different colors and we went through them as a board and then chose a few,
Okay.
and she agreed to those. And then I'm just grabbing it. I am sorry, I'm surrounded by papers. Hold on. Okay. Yep, here we go. So the last colors that we approved. Okay. The color would be the existing black for the trim, nomadic desert for the cornice, and the red barn satin finish for the brick. And that Beth would do a visit for a sample of that on the brick to make sure that it did conform. And then they could go and paint that once Beth has approved that. Sorry.
Those colors still look good.
Hmm.
Hey, Beth, you're muted.
Hold on.
Okay, sorry. So I am supposed to be checking that out Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And they're not going to paint it on the brick. They're going to paint it on a piece of cardboard and put it up, so we can compare. And so that's what I'm supposed to be. That's what I've been in contact with Mr. Roby about. So if
So that's all.
okay.
Yeah, that's all I need is approvals for this. I need an official motion and a second and a vote with those
So-
conditions, please.
So Red Barn and Nomadic Desert. So do we have a motion for COA 20-07?
And Beth
I
to
will-
approve.
I will make
Yeah.
the motion to, I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-07 with the following conditions. The paint colors will be, let me get there.
They be the nomadic desert for the cornice.
The Tacorn black for the trim, the nomadic desert for the cornice, and the red barn for the brick. And those colors will be approved in person by Beth. Let me get back. The paint
And
is,
that barn finish will be satin, just to throw that
Oh.
in there.
okay, and then the red barn paint color will be a satin finish. Do we need to specify the other paints and their finish?
Nomadic desert also needs to be satin. The black trim, it can be different. I think it's a little bit shinier and that's fine. The brick can't be,
Okay,
because
so
the trim is a metal.
okay, so then the brick would have to have an eggshell or a flat finish, and then the trim black can also be a satin or semi-gloss. Okay, the paint is consistent with the paint standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Excellent.
Okay. And we're moving on to COA what, Rashay?
All right, we are on COA Dee Dee, it's you. So this is 20-10, and this is to paint the house trim and doors at 218 North 4th Street.
Okay,
Aye.
these seem pretty straightforward.
Yes.
So it's kind of a creamy yellow and almost white trim and brown doors.
Yep,
And
Correct.
shutters- And shutters if they are approved.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, are there any questions?
No,
Do we have a motion for COA 20-10?
Yep. Make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-10. My motion is based on the following findings. The paint colors are consistent with the paint standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All in favor? Aye.
I
I think that was everyone. Okay,
Great.
all
Okay,
right.
next is 20-11. This is to change the door from paint to a stain.
Mm,
And the stain color is the early American or the Puritan pine, 20-11.
What's it called?
It is either the
Puritan.
early American stain color or Puritan pine. This is a very old wood door.
Okay,
So they are using the original door then. Okay.
is
What'd you
that
say,
right?
Yeah, they were
This is-
talking new door.
No, so what they were, but we're going to, instead of that, and Dee Dee, make sure I'm right on this, she's just going to remove the paint color and stain it.
Yes, correct. And if I could go with the Puritan pine, I think I like that better than the other stain, but
That's fine.
Mhm.
it's pretty close. So I like the Puritan pine better, though. I think it'd go better with the paint.
Excellent.
I think that's fine.
They're very close.
Yeah,
They are really close. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
okay. Are there any questions?
No.
Do we have a motion for COA 20-11?
I'll make a motion to approve COA 20-11. My findings, my motion is based on standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
Opposed? None, okay.
All right, we're on 20-12. And this is to install shutters. And Dee Dee, can I talk real quick if you don't mind? Can I start this off?
Oh, that's fine. Sure.
Excellent. Also, hi Dee Dee, miss you. So essentially, David Hall and I took a truck out to see her house, and we found evidence, including former holes where there were shutters. And so it makes sense with the time period of the house. So there were shutters on the structure before. And so what she is proposing is the louvered shutters. They would be wood, fully functional with the hardware that is also specified in the application.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Dee Dee,
No,
is there anything else?
Just that they can be painted the coffee house chocolate.
Yep.
Yes, that's
Sure. And the hardware will go with it, the black powder coated finish. Right?
Excellent. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
yes.
all right. Do we have a motion for COA 20-12?
I will make a motion to recommend the approval of COA 20-12. This consistent with the shutter standards set forth in section 4 of the Barstown Historic Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Excellent. Who seconded that? I apologize.
I'm sorry.
Who seconded that?
Josh.
Thank you. All right, Dee Dee, you're good to go. Just wait for city council approval next week. As far as I know, I think they're on schedule again. And then you'll get the approval letter with the certificate saying you can do your work, okay?
Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
So 20-13, Riche?
Joe, it's your turn.
13.
Oh, and Josh, you have to go away.
Bye.
Bye, Josh.
Okay, I'm up.
Yay. Hey, Joe.
Hello.
All right, so the first one, he wants to install and replace the brick sidewalk at 208 East Flagey. And that's also part of the porch as well. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, and Rashay, I can't remember if I dropped all this stuff off to you or not, but we proposed these are pavers that are actually, it's Pine Hall brick pavers.
Yep.
It's the same brick paver that's actually on the sidewalks in downtown Bardstown.
Can you hold them up, Joe?
You see
I've
that?
got it too, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's in here.
Yeah, it's in there.
So
And so he's wanting to
it's painted, his porch is was painted and wouldn't hold the paint and so forth. And we figured this was the best way. We got all that paint not blasted, but we scraping it so it'll be down to good concrete. And and then we're using a bull nose on the nosing to dress it up. And we're also putting the brick on the face of the brick, on the porch, excuse me.
And the current construction of the porch now is concrete block, Joe?
You know, I don't know. It's stuccoed over top of that.
Okay.
So I'm going to say it probably is. The foundation of the house is really old, but it's poured. But it's stuccoed. I can't tell you. I don't know.
It's not a wood porch.
Oh, no.
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 Okay.
It's
I
a
just
solid
wanted-
concrete porch with a concrete rail on it. It goes all the way around.
Okay.
And Summer, that yeah, if it is anything underneath that brick, if it's not concrete block that's stuck up, it's probably brick.
Okay.
So
The rest of that house is brick walls, interior and exterior, believe it or not.
Yeah.
All the exterior walls are all just 2 layers of brick, no studs or anything. It's all stucco.
Okay.
So
Very unusual.
Riche, is brick appropriate for the porch, or is it? Should
It
it
is.
concrete, or I'm sorry?
It is appropriate because of the rest of the composition of the house, and putting that back, it's absolutely appropriate. Like I said, if it's not concrete block under there, it is either, it's more than likely brick, considering the materials for the rest of the house. So that's okay to go back there because it's definitely throughout the rest of the house.
And this is sort of a brick facing. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the sidewalk, the steps, and the horizontal portion of the porch. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
And our colors are appropriate. Richey, you've seen them. We have not.
Yep, they're appropriate.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Richey or Joe?
No.
Nope.
All right. Do we have a motion for COA 20-13?
I will make the motion to recommend approval of COA -20-13. My motion is based on the following findings: the porch, steps, and stairs standards set forth in section 4 of the Barstown Historic Design Review Manual.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Okay, the next one is 20-14. This is to install copper gutters and downspouts.
It's an easy one.
Yeah, that's really.
Yeah, and they're round.
Install them.
They're copper and they're round. So
Yes.
No, they're not round. They're not round.
oh,
The round would not hold the water. They're 6-inch, just a regular gutter. But the round gutters will not hold the water.
Okay, so that's a
I
little,
thought,
that's okay.
what were you gonna say, Richey?
That's a little bit of a, that's different from the application, because when Josh and I talked, he wasn't for sure if it could hold water, so I included the round. So this is regular downspouts that would be copper. However, he does have regular downspouts on other portions of the house already.
Yeah, his roof line and some of his valleys, and the house has been added on several times, and none of the roof lines in the valleys, they don't match up very well. So the water would just come pouring off of that roof. So these gutters will actually have to have special corners made and soldered and so forth to stop the water from shooting completely over the top of the gutters.
Okay.
And there wasn't a gutter big enough to carry the water.
Okay.
Well, that's
Okay.
something that could be definitely considered an exception.
Okay, so
Because-
because of the roof line and the additions, the water will not. Okay,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
If
and
it's not
there
gonna be able
weren't round
have-
gutters on the house. to
Yeah.
start with.
Yeah,
The
it doesn't
gutters
have
that are on
round
there-
gutters.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just a standard gutter that was on there. It was just a 5-inch gutter, and it wasn't big enough. Not big enough.
Okay.
So we're going with 6-inch standard copper gutters.
Correct.
Okay, that's great.
And there's a couple of corners that have to be a little bit, there's some custom work in the corners to catch that water.
And I
to
mean,
help
that's
stop
all,
the flow of it.
that's also a very, that's a very interesting exception to that, because, and I'm saying this for the board, because the number one, of course, we have to go with what's approvable, of course, and that's still considered okay, because they want you to use round gutters, but it doesn't say we have to on the guidelines. So that's number one. Number two is the fact that if it's going to continue to cause issues with the roof and the water issues, he's got to be able to do something that will handle it. So if this is going to, even with the custom corners, right, that aren't necessarily something that we normally would be like, sure, go right ahead. That's going to allow for more safety and to keep the house standing. So that has to be taken into consideration. So I'm comfortable with that. Does that make sense?
This
Yes.
custom corner, guys, you have to go looking for it to find it. It is completely out of view from the curb, from the street. You actually have to go down beside it, and you'd have to be looking for it to find it.
Richey, is there anything we need to include in our approval? Just any wording that should be included?
As long as we reference back to the parameters that were discussed, say it's approved based on the discussion. You don't have to specifically state it again, because that would be a condition, but I would say stating the parameters that we discussed from you can just say, how am I going to put this? It's approvable based on the discussion put forth, and then go through the regular motion of what we
Okay.
said.
All right, do we have a motion for COA 20-14?
I make a motion to recommend the approval of COA 20-14 based on the discussions that the board has had, and that the gutter and downspout are standard as set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Do we have a
Great.
second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
COA 20-15.
You've got it.
Are you all having as much internet connection problems as I am?
No.
No.
Okay, I've been breaking up a lot here, so I'm kind of missing some stuff. So
Okay.
Oh.
Are you recusing yourself from Blackman's? Bruce?
am I? No,
Yeah,
no,
okay, good.
I'm not.
good.
I said,
Okay, cool. Yeah, this one is, he wishes, so we're wanting to replace the roof. Joe, go ahead and talk about that.
It's a roof is called Slate Line. I think there's at least 4 houses in the historic district that have this roof on it. I can actually show you an actual piece of the color. It's a sample. I can show you a picture on my phone. It's the best I can do. Can everybody see that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's on a house on John Fitch. There's one down on South 3rd. There's one on Broadway that have that roof. And it goes well on a kind of a steep roof. It looks pretty good on that. This is the actual color, which is, I'm pretty sure that's English slate, or English gray.
So it's a dimensional roof.
Yep.
Yes, very much so. It's
Okay.
it's a real heavy roof.
Okay.
And excuse me, but Rashay, didn't we pass this at the last meeting?
We, no, we talked about it and I asked if he could begin work early, but we still have to have a formal motion. So this is part of that motion.
Okay.
So I permitted him to go and get started because there were some leaks, but this is the official, like Ms. Hurst, we have to have an official vote and an official
Yeah.
motion.
Okay. Well, this is, I mean, it's the same color. It's the preferable type of shingle. So do we have a motion for COA 20-15?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-15. The roof is consistent with the roofing standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Excellent.
Say 2 for me.
All right. So are we moving on to 16? Okay.
Yes, and so Joe, you're free. I
Yes,
think that's
all right.
everything for you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Thanks, guys. I
Thanks,
know it's not
Joe.
easy doing this. Thank you very much, guys. I know it's not an easy job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Joe.
You bet.
All right. So 20-16.
Okay, so this is Mr. Hawkins. So I don't think he's on here. But to be honest, guys, I knew
It's
some
just
people
the paint.
about this, so I'd like to go ahead. And we do
Yes.
have exception to
Can
go ahead
we-
and talk about the vote on them.
Can we join this with 20-26 because that's basically the same property, same paint?
Yeah, it's just 2 different properties. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Yep,
thought they
it's
were.
different address.
And I'll be
he was here.
recusing on this one.
You're recusing on this one? Okay,
Yes.
got it. Thank you.
Can we do them together or no?
You absolutely can. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do COA 20-16 and 20-26.
Yeah.
They're both wanting to paint pearly white, Sherwin-Williams 7009.
You all need Dr. Blackman back.
Yes.
So it's in 16, it's is it wood siding?
Yep.
And the other is concrete block that has previously been painted.
Yes.
You got it.
I don't think that there's any issue with these being painted that color.
I don't
No.
have an issue with it either.
Yeah,
No,
and
it's
this
good
is
color.
just a little bit of off-white. It's not a bright white. It's a historic looking white.
Mhm.
Okay,
Not creepy, I promise.
do we have a motion for COA 20-16 and 20-26?
I will make a motion to recommend the approval of COA 20-16 and COA 20-26. The paint colors are consistent with the paint standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design and Review Manual.
Do we have a-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so 17?
No, it is, we're doing 20-09. So he wants to replace the windows at 302 and he wants to make them vents. I wish he could have been here to explain this. So I'm pulling that one. And when I talk to him, what he's saying is, and this could be the condition. Okay, so he wants to replace them with vents during the summer so that the house can breathe, and then put the windows back in for winter. Because there
Good
are no.
idea.
So he's not
Mhm.
getting rid of the windows. He's just wanting to temporarily put vents so that the house can breathe. Because there's some moisture issues.
And I was looking at the house, the vents actually look like louvered shutters.
Yes,
closed
they-
louvered
Mhm.
shutters. So they're very historically appropriate.
And we all know the importance of letting those historic homes breathe. So if he puts the windows back, doesn't get rid of them, I felt that was okay, but I definitely want to hear your all's opinion for that too. And the example he went to was what was done on his own house, the same situation, his house, and that's what he does to the one he lives in. So that was included.
Is there any, is there any other solution that wouldn't require the windows to come out?
But the vents always show, so you don't even know the windows are there when they are there.
Oh,
They're covered. It's like the little shutters are closed position. And in the winter, there's a window behind it. And the summer, he's hoping not to have a window behind him.
And see, I'm not sure, Pat, I think he really is talking about removing the vents and putting the little window back in the winter. Like,
Okay.
that's when I got clarification from him on this, that's what that's what he appeared to be clear to me on. So I think he's planning on just putting the vents in like an insert for that house to breathe and get that moisture out of the attic. Lots of moisture. We all know these things. And then put the little windows in back in the winter, like to seal it, to keep, to try to keep the heat in.
Okay.
So that one will be slightly different. His is permanent vents, but this one he was talking about replacing, to my knowledge.
Okay.
Errol, I need you here.
I guess the only question is, if this house were to sell in the future, do we need to have a stipulation that the windows be in at that juncture?
Yes, and that they come in. I would make it with the condition that in the winter, the windows are put back, just as he proposed. I would put that in a formal condition.
There's a portion of our design manual that states that if the windows are not needed, then they could be shuttered if original shutters exist, and if they don't, then a temporary closure can be prepared, leaving the window frame intact. So it's I know it's not exactly like that, but it's pretty close. We'll probably leave the frame intact and then have the louver kind of somehow retrofitted to that frame. Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you see that? Is that in our?
Page 3, W15.
Thank you, Summer.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And see, when I wrote the application, guys, he called me, of course, after he got it, and he was like, "But I'm going to put him back." So I didn't know that whenever I wrote the application. Okay, it was one of those-
Thank you for finding that, Summer. That totally makes this approvable.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, well then if I'll go ahead and make a motion if everyone's okay with that.
Yes, please.
Okay, I will make a motion to recommend approval of COA-20-09 with the following conditions: that the louvers are installed in the summer, but in the winter, the original windows are reinstalled back in the original location. My motion is based on the following findings. The window louver replacement is consistent with the window standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All
Excellent.
right. What are we on to now, Rashay?
Okay, so we are at Bardstown Baptist Church, which is 20-19. I don't know if they're on here either.
This shows up as the blessing boxes. Is that right?
That is why. So I have tried to refresh that 500 times. So this is not the blessing boxes.
I was gonna say that's in there twice.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, so the 20-35 is the blessing boxes. 20-19 should be the fence. Is anyone else getting that?
So this is a fence around the dumpsters.
You got it.
Can we just say approved? Whatever it
Yeah,
is, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, that's, so can everyone see that application? Because I have tried like 5 times on Care Plus.
I cannot, but we can discuss what it is and
I see it.
I found
You
it.
do?
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Where'd you all find it?
20-19.
20-19.
Are there two 20-19s?
Yes.
I just
Uh-huh.
have one.
If
I
you
have-
refresh, it should rename it 20-35, but don't refresh it because I'm afraid something bad will happen. Sorry. Like, don't, never mind, don't, just, it's fine.
Do but don't.
I'm trying to.
Oh,
Also, Dr.
35?
You
No.
have how do you have a valley behind you? Just out of I can't hint.
Well,
like,
you
how
had
do
a
you have-
sideways ocean before.
I know he was laying on the beach a while ago.
Yeah.
Can we get a description of what is happening here for those of us who don't have the COA in front of us?
So, absolutely. So essentially what they're wanting to do is put a 6-foot dog-eared, left to be natural, on around their dumpster to kind of give it some privacy. There may be a couple of small signs that I can staff approve that says church dumpster use only. They're having a lot of people put trash in there and it gets filled up and they're not able to use it.
So it's what's the height of the fence, Rashay?
They said 6 feet.
Okay.
Which we can approve.
Yeah.
Rashay, this is Nancy Ballard. With your Zoom, you can go down to share screen for future reference, and you can pull up your documents right off of your computer and show them on your screen.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that.
That's an option. You'll have to play with it, but you can go in and you can pull up a whiteboard, you can pull up your documents and let all your panelists, everybody see it.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
Trying to hold on.
Is there anything, Rashay, are you still here?
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Is there anything inappropriate about this? I mean, I can't see it, but it seems we don't want to see dumpsters. We'd much rather see a fence.
So
Absolutely.
6 foot tall, they're gonna let it just weather naturally. Is
Yep,
there any
that's
kind
what-
of decorative?
No.
No.
Okay,
It's a dog ear. So, the little meat, that's all it
Yep.
is. 6 foot.
Yeah.
Well, the exact notes I have from that conversation, and forgive me guys, it was at the beginning of March. So, was 6 feet dog-eared fence left to be natural all the way around the dumpster. And then it may, they also got permission from engineering to make sure the dumpster trucks could still come in there and use it. So they've been pretty thorough about this.
Okay. Can we have the condition that any signage would be
Staff
approved? Staff approved. Okay. All
Absolutely.
right. Do we have a motion for COA 20-19?
Yes, I'll make a motion for COA 20-19 with the fencing is consistent with the fencing and mechanical equipment, trash collection areas and outdoor storage areas standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design and Review Manual. With
Second? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
with the condition that if signage is necessary, that could be staff approved.
Second.
I'll second.
Second. Oh, sorry.
And
in
Pat, I've
favor?
lost your video. Are you able to get it back?
I haven't seen, I can just see who's talking myself. Just a minute. Let me, okay. Am I
Yay.
back?
Okay,
yes.
good.
All right. Did we, we approved it all? Okay.
Hold on, who was second?
Bruce.
Summer,
I second.
okay.
Excellent, okay. Everyone's in favor, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect, okay, that one's done. Boom. Okay, so the next one is, let's see, they want to install a handicap ramp to the exterior of the building, and this is 20-20.
Okay, so it will be wood,
Looking,
or is this a permanent, like concrete ramp, or?
I'm looking, hold on.
Or the building. State.
It was supposed to be, they're gonna pour concrete. They wanted to pour concrete.
Okay,
Mhm.
concrete, and then do we have a rail that we need to approve?
Yes, and handrail
on- Mm-hmm.
is on page 7. It matches the other other railing that they already have
Oh,
there.
right. Okay,
Hey, Rashay, are they basically adding on to the ramp they have now, essentially?
Yeah, so you see that little
Okay.
bitty ramp right there? They're automatic doors, and they're
Mhm.
having a lot of difficulty with people in wheelchairs being able to turn right there and go straight in. So they're
Okay.
asking to pour concrete right there to make
Mhm.
it to where people can go straight into that door, just
Sure.
straight.
yeah, it looks like they have little tiny ramps at those bumps, and
Mhm.
so they're
And
just
they're-
adding a few inches on top of the concrete that's there.
And putting it out to the front, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, putting it out to the front, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
not the sides anymore. It would go to the front because wheelchairs can't get up there and have enough room to turn. They've figured that
Mhm.
out, that they're not
Yeah.
able.
Are they gonna
Mhm.
have a flat platform at the top and then the ramp?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then the handrail will be all the way around that.
okay. Do we have a motion for COA 20-20? Or are there any more questions?
No questions. I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-20 with the following conditions, or a motion. I don't have any conditions. We don't have conditions for this one.
No, no conditions. You're awesome.
Motion is based on following findings. The handicap ramp is consistent with the safety and accessibility standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second,
I'll second.
Thanks,
all
Pat.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. All
Um,
Go
and
ahead.
then COA 20-21 to replace the doors at the rear of the building.
That is correct. Now let me grab that one. Okay, so I wanted some clarification on this about exactly they didn't get me a lot of the information that I was, well, they've got some of it. 6-panel wood grain doors, and I mean, the other doors there were added when the addition was there, so they're not 50 years old necessarily. Let's see, but it is, I believe it is, it's a, let's see, is it metal?
Yes.
They're wanting
Yes.
to go back with metal. Mhm.
Yeah, they're wanting to go back to metal instead of wood.
Do we know the door swing? Do the doors swing in?
They
Or do
swing
they-
out, which
They
is why
swing
they're
out?
that's why they're requesting also the change in the handicap ramp, because they couldn't get it to go inside. Apparently how the addition was built before automatic doors wouldn't
Mhm.
allow for the doors to swing inward. So they have to come out.
Okay. Well, I would just, I mean, it's not what they're proposing, but I would maybe recommend some sort of glass so you can see, when someone's exiting, that there's not someone there that's handicapped, that you're gonna,
I
so
agree.
that would be, but again, that also, the doors they have now are glass. I don't know if that would be a safety concern, as far as for security reasons.
That's part of the issue. They're having some issues. They haven't they didn't divulge exactly, but they're having some issues with security and people getting in there. Now, we
Oh.
can make a suggestion because this is a public building, it's a church. This is a handicap, this is ADA compliance. There's a lot of things right here where there could be slight exceptions. We can suggest that it be the shatterproof glass that's on there instead of just regular glass. So those exceptions can be made, but I'm with Summer. Whenever I looked at I wish they were here to talk about it. But given what we've got, I was a little uncomfortable with all of the visibility being taken away. So.
Yeah, that was my concern is we have, half light doors, and I know they're not 50 years old, so it doesn't have to be the same exact design, but it would be nice if they were more similar to what exists there.
And I believe the doors currently are metal. And that was done when the addition was done.
The doors are metal now. Okay, so really they can go back with metal since that's
Yep.
what it currently is. So there's no argument there.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's at the rear of the building. If it was at the front of the building, we'd absolutely make them rebuild those beautiful wood doors. But this is
Sure.
at the rear. This is a handicap accessibility. But I'm with Summer. I'm a little concerned about the visibility in them hitting someone without being able to see that opens that way.
I think it's not a regulation that they have to do that, right? But I think we could make the recommendation, and you could just kind of talk with them, Rashay. It's really their choice by design. Like I said,
Absolutely.
I don't think there's anything in the code that says they have to do that.
No, it's a safety issue. It's just a good point to bring up, Summer.
Right.
What do you all think?
I'm trying to find,
agree.
so lost. It does say, I thought it said somewhere in here that they should be, similar. Appropriate to the period and style of building and are the size of the original opening.
These doors aren't original, so I guess we would kind of need to. Well, I guess they're original to this addition.
In DO8, it says non-original, non-historic doors in historic buildings shall be replaced with new doors that are appropriate to the period and style of the building and are the size of the original opening. And then it says quite clearly, metal doors are not appropriate.
Right.
How old is the addition again?
It's from the 60s, I believe.
So that's more than 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the exception at that point is that if it was a Victorian house and not a public meeting place, does that make sense? Like, we would absolutely make it go back with wood, but because it's a public church, this is an ADA compliance. They already have metal. I think that's that's the differentiation right there. If it was a home, absolutely not. Even if they had metal, we'd have to go back with wood, right?
Can we insist on there being some kind of light? It
absolutely.
doesn't have to be, and it could be, I'm trying to describe it like from the computer, like just one
light.
Panel, like in school buildings.
Yeah,
they
call that a narrow light kit.
Ooh, thank you, Summer.
Good, yeah. Good, thanks. So it could be something as small as that. I'm willing to.
Okay.
But I think there does need to be some kind of light in the window.
I agree.
Can that be staff approval, or is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, if you want to give that, just make that as a condition. You want some light, some window light to be put into the door, and make that a condition to be staff approved, and I'll handle that.
Okay. Do we have a motion for COA 20-21?
I will make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-21 with the following condition: that the window have some sort of light kit installed for visibility, and that will be staff approved through Rashay. And my motion is based on the following findings. The door is consistent with the door standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
All right. So we're saying
Yeah, so next we have Wheelan Shelburne, and David's trying to get on. I don't know if is David there. Let me get my what about. Oh, and Nancy, thank you. I checked with IT about that function to bring up documents, but they said unfortunately with our iPads it kind of interferes, so we're not able to do that. I wish we were. Hold on. I was really excited about that.
So what's the COA number, Riche? 20-23?
Yeah, 20-23 is what we're on. Is David here? Was David able to get on? He was not able to get on.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Okay.
so this is the building in the back?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
You're here, David.
actually for Shannon, her mother.
That's right.
Okay,
Okay.
so
yeah.
the first thing on that one is they're wanting to move the door from the front of that to the side, and those are attached plans that are in 20-23. So that's the first application. No.
Yeah, I've looked at this. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it looks good.
No. And the door is the door with the side lights, right, David? That's what's proposed in this.
Yes.
Yay. Okay, great.
We just look more like a home than a shed.
These columns, were they there before?
That's another COA.
Yeah, so that's the
Okay.
So I've got the door, the
Good eye.
port, and then a roof. So, this one's just the door.
Okay. I did look
Okay.
through these before, but I obviously didn't catch that. So
It's okay.
does anybody have any questions or issues with the door being moved to the alley side?
No, looks good.
All right. Do we have a motion for COA 20-3? I guess we need to know what the door's made of. Sorry.
It's wood.
It's wood.
Yes. Okay,
Mhm.
that's good.
Mhm.
Okay. So do we have a motion for COA 20-23?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of COA 20-23. My motion is based on the following findings. The door is consistent with the door standards set forth in section 4 of the Barstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second?
I'll
All in
second that.
favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent, great. Okay, so 20-24. Now this is the porch that's being added to the structure. Now, David, is that roof pitch? Is it going to stick out with a little porch, or is it just going to be flat?
It's actually not really a porch. It's actually the eaves coming out.
Of the house, so it's going to be flat.
All the way around, yeah.
Okay. So they're just adding a side gable to that is essentially what they're doing.
Yes.
Or a gable peak on that.
So it's
And
like a
so-
portico.
Exactly.
Yeah, a portico.
Now, those column thingies, what are they and what are they made of?
Anything you want them to be. I'm not fighting you.
I cried. Oh, God, David. All right.
It says that they're fiberglass
Yeah.
on the
No
spec
fiberglass.
sheet.
No,
I
no
did
fiber.
pick out some from Lowe's or Home Depot, one or the other, and I sent them to Riche, but whatever works for you guys.
Oh yeah, those are on your application, guys. So it's the baluster. It's a square 1.5 baluster, 30 inches and 36. Yeah, and that could be wood.
Hold on, where are
Well-
you?
Hold on.
Sure.
Seeing
Yeah,
fiberglass.
Brown.
Yeah, I've got round 2.
A round fiberglass column and cap, and then
Mhm.
a unfinished
they're not.
fiberglass.
That was just the picture we found together. They're wood. So we did state that they would have to be wood, even on new construction, because of her
Okay.
porch.
Because
Okay.
of, because of
Okay,
why?
and they're round or square?
Which one are you wanting, David?
What would you approve?
What's on your house currently?
Yeah, what has she got?
I think Wheelan has about maybe 3-foot tall square box, and then it's a square pillars going up.
Yeah, so she just has basically posts. So she has the brick pillars that have the white base, and then it's basically a 4x4 post going
Yeah.
straight up.
Right. Shannon wanted.
So
to-
do we want them to match,
I would probably match those with square.
Mhm.
but not with the brick base?
No, no brick base. Because the brick base would have been done a little bit later. It probably would have had ornamental columns, like rounder, probably, to be honest, in the beginning, but we don't know that. We don't have any pictures earlier than this of that. It probably would have been solid wood, round with probably some decorative ornaments, because it's definitely kind of a folk Victorian. So it probably would have had some really pretty ornamentation on there at some point. But she's got square right now.
Okay, so we're gonna go back with square, and what about the base and the cap?
Let's see,
Square-
base and
Square
cap.
as well,
I would, go ahead.
square as well, but what, the bottom, what should probably not be wood?
I have a quick
She's prob-
question. How come it has to be wood? I thought we could do fiberglass columns on new construction.
We can do that. So I
Okay.
just suggested wood, and if you all want to change that to fiberglass and give him the same column in fiberglass, you can do that.
Oh, I was just curious. If he wants to use wood, that's perfectly fine. I just want to make sure that we weren't limiting.
Actually,
Yeah, you can.
glass would be better. It wouldn't rot as fast, but whatever you guys want to approve.
Well, through our review manual, you are allowed to use fiberglass on the new construction.
That'd be
Yeah.
fine. That'd work.
But
Is
by all
everyone
means,
okay
if
with
you want
that?
to use wood, you can use wood. So,
I'd rather use fiberglass.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. So what are we approving? And I've lost, what number are we on? I
We're on 20-24. I'm so sorry.
24.
20-24. Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna go with fiberglass columns and caps and bases for the
Square.
columns, and they're gonna be
Square.
square in nature.
Yeah, just like hers. I mean, so she's got the little brick column base and then a
Mhm.
little square cap right at the bottom.
Mhm.
As long as it's square, that would be fine. It would match hers.
This is all on the
Okay.
same property, right?
Yeah, it's right
Okay.
behind the house.
Okay.
All right,
Is
do we have a
is
motion
everyone
for
else
COA 20-24?
I make a motion to approve, recommend the approval of COA 20-24. My motion is based on the following findings. The porch is consistent with, the porch posts are consistent with porch standards set forth in Section 5 of Bardstown Historic Review Manual. Those posts will be fiberglass and square in nature, as will the caps and the bases.
Second.
Excellent.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All right, COA 20-25. This is to have they want a roof on the new building, but we don't do those. They previously had a standing seam approved, but they'd like to do shingles.
And remind me, David, her house is shingles too, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And what color are her shingles on her house? Brown?
Yes.
Okay.
And you were actually the one that picked out the color of the shingles.
I thought I remembered that, but it's been a while. A lot's happened, David. A lot's happened since then. Hold on.
Not really.
Okay, well, they're gonna be the
Oh, yeah. Brownwood.
the dimensional shingles that we typically approve.
Yeah, and it's brownwood. Yeah, I did.
Brownwood.
And I brought
Um,
you a sample, too.
Now, David, does she really want a different color roof with this? Because I said they should match because of that house. But did you say Wheelan was going to change the roof color?
She did. Eventually, when they replace the roof, they want to change it, yes.
How long do you think it'll be before they replace that roof?
Oh, who knows?
Okay, that's kind of, okay. Because I hate to give her something that's based on now if she's going to replace it in the next 2 years. But we can't make that decision based on that, but
Probably not in the next 2 years.
okay, okay. Great.
And I brought you samples.
Yeah, I've got them.
Okay.
I've got them right here. Thank you.
I mean, this seems pretty straightforward. Do we have any questions?
No.
Do we have a motion for COA 20-25?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 2025. Motion is based on the following findings. The roof is consistent with the roof standards set forth in section 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. You're free, David. Wait for a week for city council. Once I send you that signed certificate by the city clerk, you're free to begin work, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
So we already did,
Get out of here.
I didn't hear that.
He said, I'm out of here.
all right. So we already did 26. Are we on 27?
Yes.
Yeah, so this, hey, Willie, it's your turn, friend. I'm so sorry. It's your
That's
turn.
o- That's okay. I can't believe I've been quiet this long.
Yeah. So there's two, you're representing Roger Carey tonight, correct?
No, Elder Insurance, but Roger owns the building.
Okay,
Oh, we-
great. So that's part of it. Are you okay, so that you're just doing 20-27 then, right?
Is that Elder Insurance?
Ah,
The signs.
Yeah,
at 120 West Stephen Foster?
yes, if it's Elder
Yeah.
Insurance, just make sure it's,
Yes, it is.
Is
okay,
it?
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Roger might have something else going on too. I didn't want to get involved.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. So you're just that one. Okay,
Yes.
great. Yeah. So
Yeah.
20-27.
Okay.
Okay, so they're gonna add.
Oh.
Let's see. Tell us what's going on here.
Me or Rashay?
Yep. Right ahead. Nope. You go right ahead, Willie.
Okay, she's wanting to install a sign on the side of the building that's exactly the same size as Carruthers Law on the front of the building. And also a small sign by her door, because you can't enter at her door. You have to enter at both ends of that building, or the front and back, however it is. And so a small sign saying that the entrance with arrows pointing either way, but you can't enter it here. Just a small 18 by 24, like a side the door sign. But the main thing she wants is the hanging sign, 32 by 44.
Okay.
Okay, and these are typical, I mean, these are not atypical. They seem fine.
Mhm.
Yep.
They
That
meet
meets
all
the
the,
requirement for the sign standards. General
Um,
sign.
and the hardware is the one that's pictured.
Yes.
Do we need to make any note about how it will be mounted, or?
Probably should talk. It's going to go in the mortar, correct, Willie?
In the what?
It's going to go in the mortar, right?
Yes, yeah,
Perfect.
Willie knows.
yeah.
I figured, but I just wanted to,
Beth
we
was
address all the things.
always ask it. Just have it on the record for sure. It always helps. I also really like that mount, Willie. It looks really good, by the way.
Yeah,
It
and
does.
it matches the other one on the building, so it'll be the same thing.
Oh,
Same
great. And
color.
the sign
Same
looks great
color.
too. It looks really good.
Good, thank you.
All right, so are there any other questions?
It's the same, the height of it.
It'll be above 8 feet.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce, is that what you meant? Wait.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, any other questions?
I will make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-27. My motion is based on the following findings. The sign installation is consistent with the sign design standard set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right.
Who seconded that one? Is that was Bruce or I couldn't say.
Doesn't matter.
Got a building. Okay, it's starting.
Where are you now?
I know. I'm just like,
Are we moving on to 2028, Riche? Is that what's
yes,
next?
that's our next one, which is 20-28. Okay, so this is Christy Clark, Rob Smotherman, and 97 West Flagey. Is this you, Andy?
No, it's Mammy's on Mammy's General Store. It's me again, I think.
Okay, great. Cool. Let me pull that one up. Got it? Okay.
So this sign is going on the existing bracket.
Yes.
I'm looking at the page 7 and it has Mammy's General Store and then 3 different smaller signs underneath, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like, are they hang underneath or?
Yes, she wanted that look of each sign hanging under the other sign.
Okay. And they'll be joined together with some kind of
With
metal.
stainless hooks.
What's the total square footage on that, all 3 together? Willie?
It's a 42 by 42. So it's written on the paper and I don't have the applications.
Okay, that's okay. Hold on.
42 inches by 42 inches. So, and actually it'll be a little smaller than that because there's going to be a gap between the 3 gaps, but I mean, that's within the size of what you all normally do.
It's a little over 12 square feet.
Okay. We have been approving most things around 10.
Okay, we can make it smaller. Yeah.
Let's hold on. What size is the existing sign that's there, Willie? Do you know?
The existing sign's removed, but the last one I had hung there was actually 3 foot by 4 foot, but this will be a little smaller than.
Okay, so he's still smaller. I mean, and there's no, the only thing it says on here, and this is where I think some people were getting it before. Let me find it. There's something in here and I'm looking for it. It goes around 6 square feet, or saying that 6 square feet is a typical sign or something to that effect, which that's really small.
That's tiny, yeah.
That's really small. And so a lot of times before some people had 6 square feet, but I think that's way too small for downtown. That's my opinion.
The Moore Norman sign, go ahead. The Moore Norman sign, which is next door to it, is a 4 by 4, and then the Gartland's is a 42 by 42.
So same size.
So I mean, these will all be actually no bigger, it'd be smaller if anything.
Okay, excellent.
And down that street, and then Barbara just doesn't have a sign. Barbara's. So.
Okay.
I think the size is okay.
It'll be appropriate to what's going up and down that street.
Well, I think also because it'll be broken up in pieces, it's not going to appear to be, monumental in size. It's going to be
right.
It's going to look smaller.
Yeah, and it's SI1. Do not install more than 2 signs on any storefront on a non-residential lot. When establishment has a rear entrance, 1 sign no larger than 6 feet may be installed for identification. That's a rear entrance sign. So there's been a mistake in the past where people have just put 6 square feet, and it's just, I think that's too small. So if you guys are okay with that, giving consideration of the other size signs that we have, I'm okay.
All right, do we have a motion for COA 20-28?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of COA 20-28. My motion, trying to find where I'm reading here. The sign installation is consistent with the sign design standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Yay. Is that it for you, Willie? Are you good, my friend?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Joe Buckman said. Y'all got a tough job. I can only imagine. So thanks for what you do.
You're
Appreciate
welcome,
it.
Willie.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Willie.
Bye-bye.
All right, are we on COA 20-29?
Yes, this
29.
yes. Is there someone here for that one?
Yeah, that's me, Rashay. Andy.
Andy, yay! Okay, so you're doing the driveway?
Do what?
The driveway?
How about the South Central Bank was the next one?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
it's
I'm
not.
trying to, I'm
Sorry,
trying to
we're
jump
almost
line.
there. You're like 2 away. Don't worry, you're 2 away. You're
I'll go
so
back
close.
to me.
So this is 215 West Laget.
So
We
this
want
is
to add on-
Les. I don't see that he's on.
I don't either. I
We
would
could
like to
talk
proceed
about it.
with- Yeah, I would like to go ahead and proceed with this one. We knew people were gonna have trouble with this, and that's fine. We've
Okay.
gotten permission to go ahead, even if they're not here. If we're comfortable with that. If we're not, we can table it. Leslie and I have talked about this quite a bit. His wife has passed away, not too long ago, and he is not able to do as much with the yard that he would like to. So he loved his driveway the way it was, but he's having a lot of difficulty keeping it weeded and using the weed eater to be able to edge it the proper way. So all he is asking to do is to make it one solid driveway with concrete, no stain, no design, just fill in that center of that driveway.
So the bricks or whatever are going to stay, and then the center will be filled with concrete.
You've got it.
Oh, I thought it said one portion. I thought it said that hold on, where are we? The parallel, what did it say? Sorry.
Oh, so sorry, and that's my fault. That's definitely me. That's SS21. Yeah. So the applicant is proposed to make the 2 parallel tracks solid. And what I was trying to say is make it one solid driveway. That I wasn't clear in that. I'm sorry, Summer. So yeah,
Okay.
he's going to keep that little brick design on the edge and then put it. So instead of a parallel driveway, he wants to make it a solid driveway. That's what I was trying to say.
So the brick stays.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're
But
gonna
he
use.
will have no design.
Okay.
Now, I am requesting a special condition on this one. So do you all see on the very first page where the driveway is, and then there's this little strip of grass between him and the neighbor right at the corner?
Yes.
Do y'all see that? Great. I'm gonna recommend that remains grass and that be in the conditioning. Because we don't want a solid thing of concrete, and I need that grass to stay there for it really to meet our standards. So that this can be approved with the condition that little strip of grass in between those 2 houses has to stay.
Well, hold on a second, because that's the blue Victorian house,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
he had applied to, I don't know how old this picture is, but he had applied to increase the width of that driveway. So that grass may not even be there.
It still would be there. So it goes
Okay.
a little bit on the right side. I double checked that too. It goes
Okay.
a little bit on the right side, but in other words, I think he's wanting to concrete the entire thing, and we can't do that.
Can we
I
just
thought-
have someone go over to Weed Eat? Because I love the charm of this driveway. It makes me
I-
so sad.
I-
I'm gonna have a
Oh,
hard time with this one, and I really like Les, and I really thought a lot of his wife too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can, and if if that's part of it, you all absolutely are allowed to do that, because aesthetically, yeah, it looks better. It looks better absolutely as a parallel driveway. It has a lot of happy charm with it, with that tiny little house. So
Well,
Yeah.
the other thing I'm seeing is, by filling in the middle, he's only gonna eliminate, he's still gonna have to go down both sides of that with the weed eater. He'll just have to do half as much, I guess, if you see what I'm saying.
Yep.
He'll still have to do the outside edges. And my other concern is if you're gonna fill in the middle, to me, I would think you'd want to maybe go back with all brick. And I don't know how you all feel about that.
Isn't it just pressed design?
Yeah. It's a pressed concrete. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That is,
there on the
okay.
edge.
Okay.
So it's stamped concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I want is for the concrete to go in and then for the pressed pieces to be stained a slightly different color so that they still stand out. But I'm not gonna make that stipulation. What I-
That'd be cute.
Well,
Okay.
just so it would still look like
You are
a,
absolutely allowed to determine if you feel that's inappropriate because you're right, there's a lack of grass there. There's a lack of grass there for many issues. And we've had a lot of trouble with the property on the corner. So,
Well, the other thing is, was it approved because of the percentage of green space also? Is that a different concern? Are we not concerned with that?
yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing. Does this need to go to, I can't
Just-
remember her name,
Jessica. Or,
to make sure there's still enough green space.
Because
So
I'm
I
assuming that
always
was probably
send her
put in that
the-
way for a reason.
yeah, and so here's the deal. We can so I sent this to Jan for approval. So I always send this to her before our meeting to ask for approval on some things. Paul, he's coming up, but he just got his site plan approved by Jan like today. So she didn't flag this one. And if she has an issue with any of them, she usually does. But we can table it in order, to determine that if Jan needs to get approval for the green space for that.
That's probably.
Can we conditionally approve it with that stipulation so that way he doesn't have to come back for he doesn't have to wait a whole month?
You can conditionally approve it, and as long as we don't table it, we're good. Yeah, it can move forward.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that? The stipulation that Jan approves the amount of green space?
I would be.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can totally vote no, by the way, Summer. You don't have to.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's no really real reason that I can to vote no, except for I just really like how it is.
I'm
When
trying to
something's
help you.
perfect, you shouldn't change it, and it's perfect. I love his house.
I love it too. I've been in love with his house since I first took this job. I told him that too. I said, your house, I don't know what it is, but I'm magically enchanted with your house. So
A lot of it has to do with the driveway.
Yeah,
Really.
I know, and the little
Like,
driveway.
100%.
Can we table it till next month and then let me go talk to him?
Yes, I mean, you can.
I'm
If
kidding.
you-
I'm kidding.
But I mean, if you want to talk to him, I mean, you are absolutely allowed to. If you want to table this, if you guys are uncomfortable with that, with making the condition or approving it with the green space, you are 100% allowed to do that. I just want to make
I'm gonna approve it, but I probably will go chat with him. I'll go to visit with them. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Please
Okay.
do so. Please do
Yeah, I
that.
will.
Okay. Yay.
All right.
I feel better.
Okay. Do we have a motion for COA 20-29?
I'll make the motion, recommend approval of COA 20-29. The driveway alteration is consistent with the street standards set forth in section 4 of the Warsham Historic Design Review Manual. It's also approved under the condition that Jan approves eliminating the green space that's currently there and going back with the concrete.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now,
Right.
this is a question. If she has a direct issue with that being approved, are you all giving me the right to let him know that it may have to come back and be denied at that point? So are you guys comfortable with that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanna make
Yes.
sure. If he says she has a real problem with that, we may have to bring that one back and deny it, whether he's here or not. Okay.
COA 20-30,
35.
right?
35 or
Oh, Franklin, it's you.
35.
I'm here. Thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, excellent. So go ahead, Franklin, tell them all. Oh, Pat, you have to recuse yourself. I'm sorry.
That's right. I'll turn my mic off.
Well, thank you anyways. Just tell your husband we were very, very happy with him. So, and we were very, very happy he decided to help us and very gracious. But we are trying to build 6 boxes, 5 of which are going to be a donation box for food or diapers or anything that we think that anybody in the city may be in need for, that maybe won't go to the bread pantry or can't make it to the bread pantry because of maybe issues getting there, doesn't have a vehicle, so on and so forth. And we also are going to do one, and Roché's going to be really happy about this. With your approval, we want to do one art box that's going to have art supplies, markers, stickers, anything anybody wants to put in there to encourage the youth to come out and, and explore the creativity. We've actually got with Dean Watts and got conditional approval with him that we are allowed to put that next to the Johnson Building, Bardstown Center for the Arts there. And Fred Hagan is actually designing and building these boxes. And if you look at the third to the last page on the application, there's his sketches for the box. They're going to be a 2x2 by 3 foot tall, with 2 small changes from what I see on the application here. Let me go back to them here really quick. We were originally wanting to use a little bit of plexiglass in the center. We decided to go away from that if that still fits with everyone's decision. Fred thought it would cloud up quickly and scratch very easily, and we're looking for something that would be very basically stand the test of time. And instead of doing a 4-panel door, we also want to do just a single raised panel. We thought it'd be a little bit easier to build, easier to get done quicker, and probably again hold up a little bit better. But we're really excited about these. We do want to put a Bardstown blessing box on the front. Hopefully in a stencil, like a bourbon stencil is what we're kind of wanting to use. It would look like it's on the top of a bourbon barrel head, and on the very back of the box to do some kind of plaque. And I talked to Betty about this, maybe something made out of copper or something that maybe look that way, that has contact information for the bread pantry and for any kind of program that may benefit kids, the backpack program, so on and so forth, where people can look at that and anonymously make those calls if they need to.
Love it. Okay, so I think this is a great idea. So the only thing on the sketch that's different, instead of the 4-panel, you just said just a single panel. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just a single panel, and yeah, dimensionally they're going to be the same, and just no plexiglass. That's one thing that will go away. So it'll be all wood. It'll be marine grade plywood is what he's using, and we're going to prime and paint those with both of the colors that we submitted, the marshmallow and the tricorn black, both of which were historic colors that I chose off of Sherwin-Williams website. So hopefully they will fit and be the color that will fit in the historic district.
And where would the colors be on the box?
Looking to do the marshmallow as like the base, and the tricorn black as the trim color, probably on the roof, as well as maybe some small other places, maybe part of the raised panel around the edge or something like that. Fred kind of asked me that too. Do you want to kind of make it pop a little bit more using a little more of the trim paint? But we're open to suggestions, whatever you guys would see fit and whatever would fit the best in downtown.
And again, I've got connection cutting out a little bit. And how many, is it just one box?
There'll be 6, if that's okay. We're going to use 5 for the Bardstown Blessing box donation, and then when you want to use 1 for the art box. And my wife actually kind of came up with something really cute I liked. Was Bardstown Creativity cover.
That's awesome.
And we wanted to have little handprints on there. If you guys aren't opposed to that, always going to have my daughter and my niece maybe dip their hands in some paint using a glove or something like that and put it on the outside, so you can kind of differentiate from a donation box at that point, and let that be that kind of creativity side of that.
Super cute. Where are the boxes gonna be located?
We've got 3 locations nailed down for sure.
Okay.
2 may be on city property, or excuse me, county property. So we're going to have to get with Dean Watts on that to make sure that's okay. One's going to be around the pool area where the children's play equipment is. I think there's a little free library there already. So we're going to kind of actually set it right next to that, so you can get a book, get something to eat if you need it. The other one is going to be down at the community park, and we were actually going to see if it was okay with you guys, if it would fit with everything actually being mounted to the side of one of the pavilions. Actually, as soon as you drive down there, the one on the right, I think it houses the bathrooms. And then the The last one, let me see, 1, 2, was actually in front of the Kobeck building. Right, there's a little walkway area in the front that actually makes kind of an L shape. And we want to kind of mount that behind the little L shape right there. That way people see it walking around the turn going in to look at, like to go play basketball or to go to the bread pantry, and kind of be top of the mind awareness for everybody so they don't forget about it.
What was that last building? The wind was blowing across your speaker.
Sorry about that. It's the Kobeck building, the one where the bread pantry is, over where where Foster Heights is.
Okay.
Sorry, I know I'm outside. Sorry, it's either this or a toddler.
Right.
should've
I've
did
read
this
through all
outside.
of Fred's recommendations, and I think all of that makes perfect sense, and I think he's right on target. I don't have any issue with this at all.
Perfect.
My only, I think any signage or handprints or whatever should probably go through Rashay, if that's okay with you, Rashay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's perfectly fine with us. Be glad to.
And that way you don't have to come back here, but make sure that they meet all the regulations and whatnot.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Are there any other
Perfect.
questions?
Nope. I'll make the motion to approve COA-20-19 with the following conditions. Anything additional that's added to the blessing boxes that isn't shown on the application will be staff approved by Rashay. The boxes are consistent with the streetscape standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilman Hibbs. We appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you guys so much. I know these meetings are very, very hard and difficult, and we appreciate your time. And Pat, I will see you tomorrow. Tell Fred thanks again, and thank you guys for everything you do.
Not a problem.
Thank you. You as well.
Take care.
Okay, what now, Rashay?
All right, so we are at South Central Bank. Andy, it's you. Come on up. Bless your heart. I'm so sorry.
What number is this?
So this is 20-30.
Hey, Andy.
Hey,
Oh, Andy, I'm so sorry. We're trying to get to you all. I'm so sorry. It's backlog because
Sorry.
last got canceled, so we're sorry. Okay, Andy, go. Tell us about these signs.
so South Central Bank is opening a location here in Bardstown, and they're renting the, I know it as it used to be a bowling alley, but it was an old Cox Interior before this. And they're just wanting to do some signage over top of the door like you see in the image. And then there's an existing pole. If you're looking at the building, it's off to the right-hand side, kind of near the first parking spot. They would like to do a hanging sign there as well.
So it's not really a pole sign. It's hanging from the building, right?
No, if you look to the right of the image, there's a pole.
You probably can't see this picture.
Oh, I do see it. Okay, finally, thank you.
You see,
Oh, okay.
it's
I
already
have
there.
my mind over that. Okay, so the pole is already existing. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Okay. Ignore
the
my
pole's-
part on that application. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, the
Cool.
pole's there. So, the one on the building is going to be 3/4 inch PVC. It's going to be painted a dark bronze, and then the tree is going to be green. And the hanging sign is going to be HDU sign foam, similar to like Hamilton Law Office, right there beside TNT Feed and Seed, and then Bardstown Burger. There's a sign foam as well. So it'll be a nicer sign, it'll be engraved, routed, and then all hand painted. So
What is the color in the background? I mean, it looks almost like wood grain in the picture.
that is kind of so the words in the tree will be raised, and then that background will be recessed to where it's almost like you said, kind of wood look, like a sandblasted look, I guess.
Okay. And it'll be that kind of orange color.
Like a bronze. It'll match the letters on the front of the building.
Okay. All right. And they meet all the square footage, Roche? They seem
Yep.
they seem totally fine. Are there any other questions? Do we have a motion for COA 20-30?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-30. My motion is based on the following findings: that the signs are consistent with the sign standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second?
Second.
I'll second it from Barstown, not Rome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, God.
Right.
How do you do that? I want to be cool too, Dr. Blackman. I want to be cool too. Okay.
All
We
right.
had our test meeting and you said you had to work on your background like you really meant it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you did.
I've been doing my research.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of the week.
Thanks,
Thank
Andy. See you.
All right, COA 20-31, is that right?
That's correct. Hello, Nancy. I'm so
Hello.
sorry. We're here, honey.
That's right. John,
But I couldn't.
John was here.
It's okay. We've got you. That's all that matters. We're fine. Tell William to say hi.
He is on here still. He's on here.
Yay! See, we say hi, John.
There he is.
Excellent. Okay, so the first one is Charles paint colors, which I do have.
31.
31 says roof.
Yep, sorry, 31. Never mind, second one. So 31 is roof. I apologize. Whoop.
It all goes hand in hand, though.
It does, does.
Yes.
So they have a standing seam roof currently and want to go back with another.
Yeah, that's it.
And then-
So they're having lots. This is the sample. Ignore the blue plastic. It's basically the similar profile we have done. It's 16 inches seam to seam, and then it's a 1 inch seam, 16 inches width between the seams, and then a 1 inch seam right there, which we've approved on other properties. And it's black.
Perfect.
matte.
Good.
Okay,
Perfect.
Is that correct, Nancy? That's everything you guys wanted?
On the roof, yes.
Okay.
this seems pretty straightforward. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Do we have a
We-
motion? COA.
We would like to start before it gets approved by the city, just because we have major leaks in our house if it rains the next 2 weeks.
Yes, and I would agree with that because it's a slight emergency situation. Just don't, oh, how do I even say that? Just, I'll inform them that there's an emergency issue for you to get started so they won't get upset or offended that you have started. Does that make sense? I'll make sure that that's mentioned to them, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, do we have a motion for COA 20-31?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 2031. My motion is based on the following findings: that the roof replacement is consistent with roof standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Second,
I'll
I'll
second it.
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
All right,
Thank you.
so now we're going to COA 20-34
Mm-hmm.
for colors.
Yes.
And those are historical colors.
So it looks like you're going back with something similar, just a darker green
Love
than
it.
what's on there currently.
It's not really similar. It's a green, but it's much darker.
But I mean, they're going in the same places.
Yes.
Like-
Yes.
And the green is only in that gridded portion at the top.
No, the green would be the body.
Okay. I
So
can't-
it
I
is,
couldn't-
it's a change, yeah. Terrytown. Here's
And
the Terry.
actually, I think I'd like the Lafayette better. I've sampled all 3 colors. With a black roof, I think the Lafayette will be a better fit.
Which one is that?
It is the one I'm showing you right here.
And that's how, which one is the darker? Oh, good, because the Terrytown green looked really dark.
Yeah, the Lafayette is the lightest one on this one, guys. It's right there where my finger is pointing, and I'm going to hold that right there.
And we're okay with going that dark. We've had issues with this before.
The trim is going to be a lighter color. I've seen a sample painted on the house itself, and it looks really good.
Okay. And it does have a lot of trim compared to other
Yes.
houses. So there's a lot of
Yep.
a lot of color. Do we have
Rashay, do you happen to know the trim color on the gray house on is it 4th Street?
It's a cream white, very similar to what you picked.
Do you happen
But I
to
can get the exact one. I'd have to pull the file. So I can't do it necessarily right now, but I could get that color to you.
well, only because I'm afraid that the white I've picked might be too white once you get the green on there. It probably needs to be a softer white, possibly, and I don't know.
Okay. And the color.
I've tried Lancaster white, and I've tried Monterey white, and I've tried the Colonial white.
Got it.
And they all are pretty bright, and I think it needs to be a softer white, possibly. I don't know. I won't know.
Well, here is the, I'm doing this. This is the classical Colonial white up against a white sheet of paper. So it isn't bright, right? It's not bad. But if you wanted to make that approval with this and then staff approval on that final white color, you guys are welcome to do that if you would like to do that, Nancy, and give you some choices.
That would be great. Thank you.
And we're not approving the Terrytown gray, and here we're approving the lighter green. Is that right?
Yep. Lafayette green.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Is that historical white?
It's Civil War
It is.
white.
It's Civil War white. Yeah, it's really important.
Revolutionary white. There we go.
That's right. That's right. It's what that is. Nancy, ignore us. I'm sorry. It's
All right.
May I make a? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Is there any way for you as a committee to get your colors to the paint stores, the approved colors for houses in the historic district, so that when I want to paint my house, I can go get the approved color and put it on my house?
Can I answer that one? So this is the beautiful thing, Nancy. It used to only be by federal government. Remember, we're not the ones that create the rules necessarily. We have local guidelines, but they're all based also off federal preservation rules, which go from the Secretary of the Interior to the National Park Service. Okay. And believe it or not, the only thing they've laxed in my 10 years that I've been doing this is paint color. And that's the only thing they've given us a little bit of leeway with, to be honest. It takes them like 10 years to get on the bandwagon. And they finally decided that instead of requiring you to paint the house the color it would have historically been in that time period, because that used to be the regulation, which is why Whelan's house is that color. On Broadway, she hates it. But back when it was painted, that was the requirement. It had to be painted the same color that existed at the time period of the house. So many houses had like 3 colors to choose from. It was awful. And they finally laxed that. And they're like, you know what? We can't do black necessarily, trim color black. We can't pick a building black. But basically, besides that, you're given free reign. As long as it goes with the architectural style and the design, you can pick a lot of different colors. And as long as the board feels that it fits that architectural style and it's kind of what you want, we can go with those colors. We can't do purple. But you know what I'm saying? You get the gist. So you have thousands you can choose from at this point, and it's not like it used to be. So that's something you don't have to really worry about. We are allowed to give you more options on, which we're really happy about.
And that's wonderful, but I could have been painting all week. When the weather's nice, then that's when you want to do it.
Yeah.
And if I would go and grab the paint and say, you've approved these colors are approved.
Well, and it depends on the house. So each house is like its own little case study. You're a craftsman, right? So you've got really distinct architectural styles that would allow for darker and lighter colors to go very well on your home. Now, if it was a federal style house that's on 4th Street and it was this color, there is one on there, it looks really bad. Does that make sense? And even though it can be approved, it doesn't work on that house. So there's no way for us to blanket give a whole set of colors, because it all depends on the design, the time period, and all of those other factors. So we can't really do that, unfortunately. We have to take every little house and study it based on the time period built, the materials used, and the architectural style. So
Okay.
what works really well on your house is not going to work for that federal style on 4th Street. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Excellent. We wish we could. Secretly, you can get started.
All right, do we have a motion for COA 20-34? Or have we already done this?
No,
No,
we
we
have not.
haven't.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-34 with the following conditions. The Lafayette green is approved in lieu of the green color that was submitted.
That works.
And any other colors are selected that they'll be staff approved by Roche. The paint colors are consistent with the paint standards set forth in section 4 of the Barstown Historic Design Review Manual.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Too.
You're very welcome, Nancy. You can call me and then I'll get that white color for you. Just shoot me an email to remind me and I'll get that for you as soon as I can, okay?
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so 32 and 33, are these both conceptual reviews?
No, one is actual approval, the other is a conceptual review. Is Paul on here?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Hey, Paul, what are you doing?
Been enjoying listening to you all night.
You've done it too. You are so neat. I'm so
I wanna
jealous.
do
I
it.
wanna
What are you talking about? I really am at the beach.
Oh, that makes me
Add backgrounds.
That's good. Oh yeah, so COA, okay, so we're 20-32, Paul. This is your outdoor kitchen. Tell me about that.
All
Tell
right.
us about that, please.
This is all at Jailer's Inn, in the courtyard of the Jailer's Inn, which has a 10-foot wall surrounding my courtyard. In the back of it, there's a pavilion. And the pavilion was originally the outdoor kitchen. But it's now, I turned it into where I serve breakfast in the morning time for my guests in the warmer months. I want to extend on which would be the east side of it, 7 foot, to add a breakfast area, a breakfast serving area, a bar, a breakfast bar, where I could serve breakfast right there and have a refrigerator there and be able to serve my guests there and open up a little bit more space under the pavilion for my guests.
Okay.
So
Originally the kitchen was brick. So I was thinking about, since if I just scoot over 7 foot over and build that little bar area, make that brick as well.
So the existing pavilion, no, that doesn't show up, is already there, and then it's just basically a 15 by 7 foot-ish addition to that.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And so that would be the kitchen to serve into that pavilion.
Right. It's not going to be a full kitchen right now. I will probably rough plumb it, but I just want counter space there and maybe a refrigerator there to serve right now.
And didn't you say, Paul, I want to double check this and I've missed this, I'm sorry. There was a kitchen structure there before, correct?
Right. It was the old outdoor kitchen built in the 1800s. And way back when we started it, they started trying to repair it and it fell in. So we just turned it into a pavilion anyway.
And you're using those same bricks, some of them?
No, I don't know
Okay.
what the bricks are. No,
Dang. Sorry about that one. That's okay.
I wish it did.
I know. I was really excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was my concern, is what is the outdoor wall is stone?
Stone
Yes.
wall, yes.
And then the pavilion is brick, and we're introducing a second brick.
No, the pavilion has no brick on it right now at all. It is just an open space.
Oh,
Two of the walls of it are the stone wall.
So it's just in the corner part of the courtyard. And so I just was extended over about 7 foot over, close towards the back gate. For the
And
bar area.
is there a roof structure on this?
There's a roof structure on there. And the plan was the roof, the line, the slope of the roof would continue over the bar. So it all of it would be underneath the 10-foot wall. So it would not be seen from outside. So it would be sloped. I would just continue to follow the slope of the roof line that's already there.
And what would the walls consist of?
Brick. Just there'd be 2 walls that are brick and then a bar area that would be inside the pavilion.
Okay.
And nothing shows from outside the wall. Really.
No. Yeah, you can't see.
No,
you cannot,
I guess the only, I mean, this seems okay. I guess we don't have here like what materials would be and things like that. Is that something that would have to come back, or? This is really a
so that
question.
was the question, Paul, is what kind of brick were you going to use on that? And what was the roof going to be? And is there any doors and windows? Those are the kind of questions that I proposed.
Okay. I'll take your opinion on what kind of brick to go with. The roof that's on the pavilion now is just black, and I'll just follow that as well.
Single or metal?
Shingle. I'm sorry. Yeah, shingle.
Fine.
And then in the under the pavilion, I would create a door. I would have a door in the pavilion to enter into the bar area. There will be no door on the 2. There'll only be 2 walls that I would be building really, because I'll be coming off the stone wall, about 15 foot, then 7 foot over to connect with the pavilion. And then underneath the pavilion, it would be open from the bar area.
So he's basically creating a little area that's enclosed and safe so he can create breakfast and serve those people outside.
Correct.
I mean, Riche, is there anything problematic about this?
I'm pulling up, hold on one second, let me pull that one. Oh, there's phone. Okay, so the only thing I didn't have on this one was the materials, like exactly what he was going to use in that. So he's telling us it's going to be a shingled roof, black. So we've got that there. Is there going to be any windows, Paul, in it, like a little window anywhere?
I thought a little window on the east side of it. Yeah, I was thinking about just a small window there, but I'll go on your judgment and what you all think would be best.
That's fine. Are you going to put a window in it? So it would have to be a wood window, right? It would have to be
Okay.
some type of wood window that would have to go in there. And then the door, you guys help me on that one. It's technically new construction in a very old building in an area. So how do you all feel about the door and the design of that door?
Where's the door going? Sorry.
It looks like it's up against the stone
Correct.
all the way at the rear.
Right.
And you see that in the image on page 11.
Yeah, so that's this one.
It's
I see the windows.
it's so there's that opening from the breakfast area to the kitchen, and it's all the way to the right. It's just, it blends in. You can't really see.
Right there,
Yeah.
Summer. Do you see where I'm pointing? Is that right, Paul?
Oh, okay.
Correct. That's it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
See the lighter shade there is all the pavilion that's already there. It would just be that little spot in the middle of that picture.
Here's what I think. I think that we can approve the concept of this, but I think we're gonna have to see the brick and the door design and whatever your counter material will be and your windows. I think those are things that will have to be addressed as they're chosen. I don't know if we can staff approve all of that, Riche, or if that needs to come
You
back.
can. That was going to be my suggestion. If you want to give that to me to give his countertops, his window, and his door, staff, and his brick. Those are the 4 things to get staff approved. I can do that if the board is comfortable with that. I just want to make sure if anyone is opposed to that, you need to let me know.
Let's do it.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Paul, getting me a
Yes.
brick simple
That would be
window door design to me?
definitely.
Cool.
All right, do we have
And
any
it
other?
did, one more thing, it did pass planning and zoning. I got the email right before I started logging on. I didn't get a chance to read it. Did Jan approve that one?
She did approve it. As
Okay.
long as it was, it's, how did she say it? It was, as long as it stayed with the aesthetics of the building, the pavilion that's already there, kind of.
Okay, so basically mimicking what's there. Okay, great.
Right. Existing structure, and because of this, I'm sorry, the structure does not comply with minimum. The structure may be added to laterally as long as addition no closer to rear line. So as long as I don't go over the 10-foot wall, I think she said I'll be okay.
Okay, excellent. So we can do that with staff approval for the materials that we've talked about. And then also based on the condition that he meets those planning and zoning requirements. That could be the full condition.
Okay, all right. Do we have a motion for COA 20-32?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-32 with the following conditions. All recommendations required by planning and zoning are met. The door, window, brick, and countertop spec sheets are provided to Riche for staff approval. The new construction is consistent with new construction standards set forth in section 5 of the Bardstown Design Historic Review Manual.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can you all
Excellent.
see me? I got a blank screen here.
Yeah, we
Uh,
can see you.
You're not
Okay,
there
we
you
can
are.
There you are.
Yay.
All right, so COA 20-34, no,
33.
32, 33.
33. We're on
33. So
33.
this is a conceptual review.
Yeah, no vote. So basically, he's not ready to start this, Paul. And you stop me if I'm wrong.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna jump in. So he's not really ready to begin this process, but eventually, in order to have outdoor activities at some point again in the future, please God, where we're all allowed to go back outside. That would be, he would need those restroom access to have events. There's not enough within the facility of itself. So he was hoping to add 2 small outdoor bathrooms. The basic design is presented here, no materials or anything. So he's wanting to kind of know before he goes forward in the future, not necessarily right now, or maybe not even next year, but what are your all's ideas and would you allow this? And if you have suggestions on what he should do going forward. Is that good, Paul?
Yes, that's exactly. I'm just looking for some guidance on this part.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't personally see why there's any reason that he can't have the outdoor bathrooms. I think I would like to look at that courtyard a little bit more in detail with some pictures, I think that would really help with recommendations that we could make.
Come by anytime.
Yeah,
I
okay.
got kicked off, so I didn't hear any of that.
I'm sorry. Okay, so what's the last thing you heard, Beth?
I didn't hear any of this.
Okay, so basically I just said he's not really ready to begin this process. It's hopefully someday when we're all allowed to be back outside and maybe a few years, he's wanting to allow outdoor bathrooms for event space because he's going to need that to have events. The facility doesn't necessarily allow for the size that he can do. And so he was wanting to install 2 small outdoor bathrooms on the property, kind of like the pavilion, but restrooms, 2 small areas to the side. And so this isn't right now, this isn't maybe even next year, but he wants some guidance going forward of would he allow this? Would we consider it? What should he change? And Summer just stated that she wants to see more pictures of the pavilion and kind of get some more details on that. And then that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel the same way. I need more images of the space.
Okay.
Okay.
It's hard to say without seeing it a
I
little.
understand. Yeah, I understand that exactly. I just didn't know what guidance you can give me on how to build it and everything else, or what guidelines that you need to, or I need to stick with. Everything I would build would be below the stone wall. I don't want anything to be seen above the stone wall.
So my recommendation would be, you know, when you carefully pick these finishes for the brick and windows and door countertop for your kitchen addition, you're going to want your look of your whole courtyard to be cohesive. So, you know, I would maybe be mindful of that and keeping those things in mind, that you'll probably use the same materials, some of the same things for this bathroom, outdoor bathroom addition.
Okay.
That would, to me, that would be kind of the biggest thing. Just you know, having that cohesive look, you know, and kind of the scale of your green space in the courtyard versus your structures. But I don't see any reason why you can't have an outdoor bathroom. So I think you could move forward with that, with those design intentions, and kind of put forth putting that together a little bit.
Right. Well, what I don't know, this is a question for you all or not, but do I need to go through the state in any way if I was putting a bathroom out there? Or is that something for plumbing reasons? Or
I don't think so. I think it's planning and zoning requirements.
Okay.
Jan's gonna know, she's gonna know your green space. She's gonna know your setbacks for that. And she's also gonna, then you would get your building permits and stuff like that. And then I believe Logan would know most of that information at that point.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, the brick, whenever we get to that, Paul, and we choose that brick and those windows and doors, they would absolutely have to match. My second I'm going to
Definitely.
put a recommendation for me. I want them to be as small as they possibly can while being functional. So I don't want your courtyard to be filled with buildings. I want it to be mostly courtyard and then some small structures that you need, right? Like the small kitchen added.
Okay.
And then you've got your lovely pavilion. It is a really nice pavilion. And then the bathrooms being small, but also there to be usable. So mine would be make them as small as we can, but making them functional.
Okay. Thank you.
And this is one exception I'm going to throw out there too. Wood doors, right? Of course. But he's got some pretty amazing architectural details with his giant steel doors. And because it is a jail, if there was a steel door design that would mimic that one, I would consider that appropriate with his two large ones to his courtyard.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Good. Okay. I want to make sure there was a consensus on that one. Oh man, I love those doors.
Is that company still in business, Paul?
Which company?
The company from Cincinnati
Oh,
that fabricated those doors.
I'm not sure. I'm glad you've seen those doors. You've seen the sign that says Cincinnati on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they're still in business or not.
So there's a steel group in Covington, which is right across the river from Cincinnati. Covington's in Kentucky. And I've worked with them on large steel gates. So I don't know if they have the fabrication expertise to do a door, but it might be worth looking into. I'll see if I can get that contact information to Roche.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you, Summer. Because also I know, Paul, we've talked about your doors do need some repair.
Yes.
So, and that could be definitely someone you might want to contact to see what you can
Right.
do to get to stop that rust.
Oh, those doors really need repair, but don't want to ruin the patina that's built up over the years on it either, though.
That's what I was gonna say. I love the way that they look now.
Yeah. Every prom, kids are lined up out there getting their picture in front of that big gate.
Because it's beautiful and it's one of a kind. Okay. Yes. Agreed. Any other suggestions for him, you guys? Is there anything else you recommend for the restrooms other than small as possible, materials matching, potential steel door to match his large one?
Sounds good.
Do we need to use bidets?
I got a garden hose.
It's late.
This is where we start giggling. Okay.
Where's Josh at now?
Yeah, where you at, Josh? You're supposed to say.
It's my house.
No.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, I love you all so much. Okay,
Okay.
that's it then. Paul, do you have any more questions for us?
No,
my friend?
thank you all for your time.
Appreciate it, Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, is anyone else here besides HRB now? Any other human?
Oh, it's still, no, let's see. City
No,
of
it's-
Portsmouth?
That's just us.
Yep.
Okay,
just us.
excellent. So I forgot to mention this. You all been great. This is, so we are recording this. So, you know, yeah. So just make, you all know that we always have the recording. So we've got 2 more left to do and then we're free, guys. So these are, one's really easy. It's going to be 20-17, which is Mr. Mudd. Replace the siding on the addition with Western cedar siding.
Mhm.
We just need to do a form. Remember, we basically approved him to get started, but
Yeah.
we have to do formal approval, right?
Okay.
So 20-17.
Do we have a motion? I mean, we've talked about this before, right?
Yeah, we
I
did.
remember
We discussed
discussing
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Do we table it? Why did we table it?
Well, because I didn't know necessarily how he couldn't be there at the meeting. So
Oh.
before, yeah, there was.
Okay.
Now we're fine. We don't care. We'll just go for it. Yay, progression. So yeah, we can just go for it. I just need a formal motion and approval for this one.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of COA 20-17. My motion is based on the following findings. The siding is consistent with the siding standards set forth with Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Do we have a
Excellent.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right, what's the other one, Rashay?
Okay, this one is a different one. So this is 15-07. This was a really long one back in the day of Mr. Roger Carey. So while I'm going to explain this really quick because I know it's late. We all need to get back to our lives. But I love you guys and I miss you. And thank you for doing such an incredible job. I'm going to tell you that again every time because I appreciate you so much. You make my job a lot easier. So this one is an issue though. And it was when I first got the position, it was a little hectic. The files were a bit of a mess. And as I've been doing COAs, I've been taking each file and organizing it, stapling the appropriate material, appropriate approvals and everything together. And what happened is I came across this issue looking for a solution to an HVAC unit between Mr. Carey and Mammy's. There's been an ongoing battle which is consisted in court. And I realized there had been a citation that had been issued for the "This is not Mammy's" parking signs before I even took this position. And it's never been, this was tabled because of lack of attendance and it's never been officially motioned, but it's something we need to take care of. Essentially, the signs were never approved and they do not meet a lot of our criteria. First off, there's too many. What they say is inappropriate. They're using the business name of another institution to state "This is not Mammy's parking," which we don't allow. And the design and the lettering and the size, all of that, nothing was approved. And it isn't appropriate given our guidelines. So what I want to do is we need to cite him to get these taken down. So it's probably going to be a little bit long and drawn out, but because this was tabled back in 2015, before I was here, I want you all to discuss it and then determine whether or not you want to approve those signs or not approve those signs based on the application and what they are.
I mean, is anybody okay with those signs?
No.
I'm not.
No.
No.
Okay.
Great. I
didn't figure like that is
It's one of
petty.
the trashiest looking things in Bardstown, I think.
They have offended me since the first time I've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks petty.
Very
and they're
poor taste.
Yes, and you can imagine my slight grin on my face when I realized they were not approved. So I set to work. So this is part of that work. I have to have an official denial so I can begin work on trying to take care of that.
all right. Who would like
Okay.
to deny this?
Everybody should for it.
I'm fine with
That's not how I'm supposed to ask that question, by the way.
Okay, get formal.
It's not in Robert's rules. Do we have a motion for COA 15-07?
I would make a motion for COA 15-07, motion to deny the signs amended based on the finding that the signs are not consistent with the sign and private parking standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, of denial. All in
Excellent.
favor of saying no?
In favor of the no.
Guys, Oh
Aye.
my God, that's so
He's at
cool.
Hearst
Josh.
Drugstore.
He's got Hearst.
What year is that?
Oh, jealous. Okay,
I don't
I will
know.
figure this out.
What
before
is
next
that?
week. On.
I think
It's
it's
on
like
my
07.
That's so awesome. I'm
That is
gonna
cool.
totally. Okay. All right, guys, that's everything. I believe we've covered everything. If I've missed something, I'm sorry. I'm doing my very best. You all did excellent considering. I'm going to keep telling you all how amazing you are to me and how much I appreciate you. This is a month, 2 months of COAs, so I really appreciate it. Do you all have any questions for me?
No.
No,
Yeah.
ma'am.
You all want to get off of here? Do we need a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
Yes.
motion.
Easy.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
See you next month, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you all.
Good seeing you.
Bye.